Superman Up in the Sky issue 3 sees Lex Luthor demanding the captured Lois Lane beg for her life, but Lois knows Superman is on his way and he's faster than a speeding bullet. Lex says that Superman is gone, demanding Lois beg, but she won't however, so he fires his gun, killing Lois, asking her corpse why she didn't beg. Clark's dream ends as he continues to nap in line for the Galactic Communications Network. His dreams do continue however, seeing Lois and Jimmy die in a plane crash he wasn't able to get to in time, until he's finally called to the window, saying to the alien worker that he has already been to this window. Clark gets stuck behind all of the red tape it takes for him to make a call to Earth. Seeing the Joker killing Lois, he sits back in line, saying that if he has to sit in this line for one more hour, he's going to throw the whole planet into a black hole. As Toyman blows up Lois's house with her in it, Clark talks with the Dominator next to him, saying that he's seeing his wife dying over and over and he doesn't know why she isn't answering the phone. The alien says that it takes a while for the signal to go through the millions of light years to Earth, so maybe it got lost on the way. The Dominator says that he's seen it before since he once sent a message to his wife to get him more toothpaste, and the message didn't arrive for 3 years. Time ticks on as Clark sees more of Lois's deaths before arriving at another window, saying he's waiting to be connected to Earth for hours. The alien doesn't know why he was there and Clark says his name was called. The alien's paperwork confirms it, pointing him to a phone booth. Finally, Clark gets on the phone with Lois, who says that she was busy with a headline. Clark is relieved, saying it's nice to hear her voice, and Lois wonders if he was worried about her, but Clark says he wasn't since he knows she can take care of herself. Lois says that she worries about him and it can get hard without him. Clark says that he's working on finding the girl as fast as he can, and Lois says she misses him. She soon says that she has to leave since Perry is screaming at her for another headline, and she tells Clark to call when he can as he disconnects, and Clark says he misses her as well. Later on, during the Great War, Sergeant Rock saves an unconscious Superman, saying all the years he's been fighting, he knows no matter how far you go, you have to go a little further. Getting into cover, he gives Superman some water, waking the hero, who doesn't seem to remember his name or who he is. Rock asks if he knows anything, and Superman does remember that he's from Kansas. Later, after giving the man Rock dubs Kansas some proper clothes, Rock and Kansas hide in a foxhole as presents from the enemy rain down on them. Rock doesn't really know who the kid from Kansas is, as the man asks how long this will go on for. Rock tells him that the enemy will keep firing at them until they go and stop it. By morning, they get their final party favor from the enemy, a grenade, which Rock grabs and throws back. Getting back to Easy Company, Rock briefs them, telling them they aren't leaving the battlefield. He tells Kansas that their chances aren't great, and he should probably strip off his uniform and play civilian, since maybe he might be captured and made a POW, meaning he'll probably get home safe. He offers the man a gun, but Kansas refuses the weapon, saying he doesn't know why, but he doesn't want it. He does, however, want to keep going, since he will learn who he is. Mapping out the land, the squad know the Germans are holed up in a nearby church on a hill. They rush through the no man's land in front of the church, firing on it, and Rock saves Kansas from an incoming shell, causing him to be hit in the arm with the shrapnel. Rock shakes it off, running to the wall near the church. Kansas says that they can't go over the wall since they will all die, and Rock says that he's been told the same thing after Pearl Harbor, Africa, and Normandy, and Easy Company didn't listen to them then, so they're not listening now. As Rock fights on, a grenade comes over the wall. Kansas picks it up, but it explodes in his hand. The explosion causes him to remember who he is, with his memories coming back and realizing that he was after a little girl named Alice, who was kidnapped and taken to space. However, Superman was sucked through a wormhole, and it made him fall through time and lose his memory. Superman emerges from the foxhole, joining Sergeant Rock in the fight, telling him of his problems. Rock understands Superman's story, saying it sounds like something out of an action comic. The two beat the Germans, and afterwards Superman shakes Rock's hand, saying he wishes he could stay and help, but he needs to find Alice. Rock understands and wants him to go for the girl, thanking Superman for his help. However, Clark thanks him, and Rock wonders what for, and Clark taking off says for what he's doing, for saving the world. Superman Up in the Sky issue 3 was a pretty decent penultimate issue to this kidnapping story that kinda all is joined up by the thinnest threads possible. Threads that are kinda seemingly put in at last minute of both stories. The first story was the big controversial Lois Lane dying over and over again Superman's story. It wasn't as big a deal as I thought it was or what it was made out to be when it first broke, but also Superman really wouldn't think about Lois like that. If he was, he would think about it once, then put it out of his mind, since he knows how much of a competent person Lois is, so he wouldn't really need to worry about her. I would have much rather if they went with the whole thing where she's worried about him and she sees all these things, because she would see these sorts of things because she is only human after all. The second story with Sergeant Rock was pretty cool, but as I said before, the threads to the kidnapping story are just seemingly added in at last minute. Like there's that page at the end that kind of explains everything and why Superman is there, and it feels very put in at the last minute, and it feels like Tom King just wanted to write a Superman Sergeant Rock story but couldn't fit it in into this, so they just added in those ties at the last minute just to seemingly tie it up. They were good stories, but the connective tissue needed for a big coherent story like this 4-part story wasn't really there at all. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10.